When you tell people you live in New Zealand, the first thing they'll ask you is, oh, is it as green as everyone says it is? And what's it like having Christmas on the beach? What they never ever ask you though, is what is it like when you have a run-in with the law? Is something that you never ever ever want to hear. And my heart just went, oh. He said, oh, hello, is that Mrs. Deacon? And I said, yes. And he said, this is Constable from the Okato Police. And I was like, oh my God. In this week's show, we're going to share with you a typical week in New Zealand. The good, the bad, and the very unexpected.
It's a Drama, coming to you from Taranaki, New Zealand.
Hello.
Daddy, I love him!
Your mother thanks you.
Right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
Hello, and welcome to the It's a Drama podcast. I'm Liz.
And I'm Brian.
And today we are back to share with you a typical week in New Zealand.
Da, da, da.
Because that's what you love. We know that's what you love. We are Liz and Brian, husband and wife. We emigrated to New Zealand almost 14 years ago now.
Yeah, it's getting on, isn't it?
It's clocking on.
We're nearly there.
And we just love New Zealand. And we love to talk about life in New Zealand, what's been going on in New Zealand, the good, the bad, the ugly in New Zealand. And yeah, just basically invite you along for a chat, really.
No, there's not much ugly, really, is there? It's just different, I think. It's not much ugly, really. It's just different.
No, you're being a bit politically correct.
Yeah,
there,
trying to be, like,
Is it not correct to say ugly?
I don't know.
Not allowed to say that these days?
But you could say it when they made that film all those years ago, didn't they? Yeah. Who was in that film?
I don't know. Right, we've got 3 things that we want to talk to you about. 3 things that have happened this week. Isn't it funny? This is the thing. I was talking to someone at a party the other day and they watch our YouTube channel and she just said, I can't believe how much happens in your life. And I'm like, I know.
I know.
What are we going to do if one day nothing happens at all in the week and we just sit there and sort of like twiddle our thumbs and go, but as it is,
but just
stuff always happens.
The phone will ring. That's all I've got to say.
What's that mean?
And then it all changes.
What do you mean?
Well, the phone rings and it's all going along, just nothing happening. The phone rings and it all changes.
Oh, is that like out of a film or something?
No, it's not. It's just what I said.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. The first thing I wanted to talk to you about, we wanted to talk to you about was, what was it again? Oh, yeah. You know our NZ community that we've got? We've got an NZ membership group where we help people connect and move to New Zealand and just basically feel supported moving to New Zealand. Well, the other day we did a live Zoom call. We do it every month, just for the members. And we were doing this live Zoom call and it was about kids in New Zealand. And this girl who's just moved over from England, her name's Nikki. In fact, we should interview her. She's a lovely girl.
We've got to interview Nikki, because she's from Liverpool originally, moved to Manchester and came over with her husband, Ollie, wasn't it?
Yeah, and she turned around on the chat and she said, do you know what? She's only been here a couple of months. She lives in Auckland. And she said, do you know what? The one thing that really stood out to me when I first moved to New Zealand, she said, we were down the beach the other night. She said it was about 6 or 7 o'clock, just going dark. And she said and they were down there with the kids, like, just playing around in the river or whatever. And this big gang of teenagers came down. And she said, and my heart was just like, oh no, like,
You do, because back in England or the UK, it's like, the youth's here, almost like, isn't it,
she did. She said, I was like, almost like, come over here, kids. Like, she said it was so inbuilt in me. To be worried about it,
And it's intimidating over there, isn't it? It's like that feeling like they're going to kick off or something.
Yeah. And I suppose she's from Manchester, so she's from a big city, so it's understandable.
Yeah.
But so here she is in Auckland with these teenagers. And she just said, and all of a sudden, they just started playing rugby.
Playing rugby. When anyone ever scored, she said they did the haka. And
got their guitar.
Groups went over, started singing, and then other people were playing rugby. And she said just the whole feeling was just of calm, but them having a great time.
Yeah.
And nothing too loud, just enjoying themselves.
Yeah. And she couldn't get over it. She was just like, I can't believe it. She just said, it just felt so alien to her. So, and then a really funny thing happened after that. So that happened and we were like, oh yeah, teenagers in New Zealand, they're all really nice and everything's great. We're walking down the beach with the dog the other day. We'd just been for a coffee and walking down the beach. And coming towards us were 3 young jokers, weren't they, Bri?
Well, I would like to say young jokers, but, they didn't look like young jokers until they got close.
Well, they were in singlets. There was 2 men, 2 guys and a girl. And this young lad, this moly dude, he comes up to Brian, he's carrying this big piece of wood.
I did give him the eyes.
Brian gives him the eyes to say hello. He's carrying this big piece of wood, like, about like this. Almost like a stake, wasn't it? Like
it was like a staff or more like a
like a fence post sort of thing.
Yeah, it was a fence post actually. It actually was a fence post, but it was pretty sort of withered and what have you. Withered, I should say.
Yeah, he starts walking directly to Brian, just directly at him. I thought, oh, here we go. What's this all about? Then I hope we're not just going to be proved wrong now. We've just
all these nice people here.
And he comes up to Brian. He goes, He goes, do you like my stick? Oh God, do you like my stick, mate? Like this, doesn't he?
He just hands the stick over to me like, what do you think of my stick? Yeah. And I'm like, that's a very nice stick you've got there, mate. Where did you get that from? And it took him by surprise that I actually answered him and not just like walked off.
Yeah, but you went like that. Oh, that's a real. And he put his arm around his shoulders. He said, that's a really nice stick, that, mate. Yeah. And this lad's playing along and he's like, yeah, it's a nice stick, eh? Like that. And his girlfriend's like this, just can't believe it, as if like, oh my God, I can't believe you've picked these people. And of all the people that he could have picked, he picks Brian, who's well up for a conversation about the stick.
I'll have a conversation about a stick. So what are you going to do with that stick? Oh, I'm going to take it home.
Yeah.
It's like, nice one.
So, it was just like, it was weird because we just talked about, the teenagers and stuff. I mean, they weren't teenagers. They were about 20 odd.
They're about 20, 21, something like that. Yeah. But it's just that youth where they don't mind just enjoying themselves. They're not too fussed. I mean, obviously different areas around New Zealand may be different, but I always find that the people here, they're just out to enjoy themselves with respect for everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a big difference.
I know.
You find in the UK, there's always one that will kick off, start effing and blinding just to show off.
And I'm sure it's probably, it might be, I'm sure it's the same
here. It could well be the
like
same
in
here.
different areas, but
it was like when we were
we've never really come across it ever.
Yeah, but when we were I remember we were on the bus in Plymouth back in England.
Oh God, yeah.
And
that was embarrassing.
They all just start shouting off, like, and it just becomes to a point where, all right, you can see what's what, and like, oh, they're only probably 14, 15 years old, but they're all, I don't know, just making it uncomfortable for everybody.
I'll tell you what, let me just tell you this. I forgot to say this. Let me just tell you that, no, this is about that bus. So Brian's talking about the bus. No.
Yes, I remember.
Bus. Do you remember?
Yeah.
So we're on the bus going to Plymouth, where my brother lives. My brother's an ex-policeman. Going to tell you about the police in a minute, but he's an ex-policeman and ex-dog handler in Plymouth. And we get on the bus and we go upstairs. We're with Sonny, Tessa's boyfriend, me and Brian, and all my brother's family. So there's 6 of them.
Yeah.
So there's a big gang of us. We get onto the bus. We go to the back of the bus. You know what it's like. We've just been for the day out and we got the bus home because we'd been for a drink at lunchtime and no one wanted to drive. And we thought, oh yeah, it'd be good getting the bus. So we got.
It was.
Yeah, it was. It was brilliant. We went upstairs and at the back of the bus there was these young girls and they were only about. I mean, yeah,
14,
they're about.
Like
they weren't even that bright.
No, probably
I
not,
reckon they're about 12 or 13.
Yeah, whatever.
And they were the same age as my brother's youngest son. So they were sort of like having a bit of a banter with my brother's son, and there was some bad language going on. And so Sonny, my son, obviously Kiwi, lived in all his life basically in New Zealand, starts doing the Joker thing, like, and he's standing up, he just started making a few jokes, didn't he? And just being like, I don't know, just playing the fool, not being disrespectful, but just playing the fool. And my brother turned round and said, sit down to Sonny, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's a bit harsh, like, he's just messing me out. And he looked at me, my brother, and he said, tell him to sit down. My son's 21. And so I said, Sonny, sit down, Uncle Jamie's just told you to sit down, because I knew something wasn't right. And then didn't see them when we got on, but down the bus there was 2 guys sitting.
There was 3 guys there actually.
Yeah.
2 on one side and 1 on the other side.
Yeah.
And they were literally 3 or 4 seats away from us. That's all, like,
They did look a bit.
Do you know what they just looked?
Hooliganish.
But they didn't so much.
They did.
No, but if you actually looked at them, but there was the odd tattoo and stuff like that, but. Lots of gold and bling on, but they just they
had an aggression about them.
They were well kept, but they looked hard. If that makes sense, like as if like
they did,
and they did, And
they just had this hardness about them, like they wouldn't stand for any messing.
Yeah, and there was the way they were looking at each other talking, and it was just like you wouldn't want to mess with them.
No,
like, you really, really wouldn't. Like, and you can just the scars and stuff, but obviously got a bit of money.
Do you reckon?
Yes.
What makes you think that?
Definitely, because you're going to find out.
Why would they be on the bus? All right then. Why would they be on the bus if they had money though? Anyway, so let's carry on with the story. So we get off the bus, and I said to Jamie, my brother, I was like, "What's that all about? Why did you say that?" And he said, "Did you see the two guys sitting down from you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he went, "They are renowned. What are they called? Who go to football matches?
Organised." Crowd disturbance, so like organized hooligans basically that would just go to a crowd and start kicking off,
go around the country,
just aggravating the actual say on social media to the people who follow them, we are going to be there then, if you want to join us, then join us.
Oh, it's horrible,
and then
it?
They just go and beat people up and stuff, but so Jamie picked him up. He was like, yeah, I know who those guys are.
You'd know though, wouldn't you? If you were a policeman, you'd know, because you'd have an idea. And he said, I just knew the minute I saw their faces. He said, I recognised them. He said, and I just thought, oh no, he said, and then when Sonny started joking around at the back with these girls, he said, I thought they were going to kick off. So yeah, it was just, I suppose that's
it's just not particularly nice, and it's just like, I'm glad that it doesn't really seem to happen here in New Zealand.
Well, they haven't got football matches.
No, not like that. They do have football matches.
Do you think there's any rugby hooligans that go around New Zealand?
I wouldn't have a clue, because I don't know. I've never looked for it, but I just know in the UK it was very, very big in the late 70s, 80s. It was pretty bad to see, they would just go and rip up train stations and stuff like that.
Why?
And
Why would you do that?
Nothing else to do.
Hey?
Nothing else to do.
Tell me what you were going to say about why have they got money?
Because it's organised crime.
What's that
almost
mean?
Well, they get paid to do that.
Oh, really?
Well, that's it. They would, like, people join in with them, and it's just like there's money coming to them from somewhere, influencers or whatever. It's just, I don't know. It's just. It kind of like CCTV has put most of an end to it, because most people, it's just that they go to the lower leagues where they don't have all that same CCTV as what they have in the Premier League games,
anyway,
things like that, and security and stuff.
That was that then, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Brian?
that was a bit off track, wasn't it?
Have I put a bit of a downer on the show?
Well, not really, but we can bring it back round.
Yeah, but no, because that's why I'm telling you. Because
it's what happened, isn't it?
That's what happened to us when we were in England 3 months ago.
Yeah. And that's the type of thing that we're talking about. Nikki is imagining something like this is now going to happen again, when she moves to New Zealand.
I'm not saying all of England's like that.
I'm not being funny, but there's gangs in New Zealand. We know there are, and stuff like that. So obviously bad things do happen, but it's horses for courses. But it seems to be a lot more.
Well, I think we just attract drama, Brian. Because why is it when we go to England, sitting there on the bus, and all of a sudden the thugs are there?
I know.
What's the chances
the
of
three
that?
thugs.
I know, coming back from a football match.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the chances?
Oh, it's a bit scary, isn't it?
Maybe they saw you and said, "Oh, look, there he is."
Yeah, there he
There's
is.
that Liverpool supporter. Get up, get on the top deck.
I think they're going to see Plymouth Argyle or something like that.
Right. So that was that. That was that little story that I didn't have actually. We didn't plan to tell you that, but that just came out the blue. So
yeah.
And then the other thing that happened. Was there's a little Tui look.
Yeah, there's Tui. We've got flaxes all around us. I think we've said that before.
Yeah. I think we have actually got tame Tuis, because every morning when we come down here to have our coffee before we start the day, we stand here and they're just flying around and they're swinging on the flaxes and they're just gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah, the thing is, it's, obviously people know the Tui is a native bird, but when you think if it's a native bird, then there wouldn't have been any predators for it. All those, centuries or whatever it is ago, but a long time ago.
Yeah.
So they seem they fly so fast and they make so much noise with their wings when they fly past you. It's just but you see 2 or 3 of them here all the time.
I know, and I can't get over, that's what I'm saying about the tameness, because it's almost like they're not scared of you, isn't it?
Yeah, but no other birds will do it. The blackbird, if you go anywhere near it, bang, it's gone, or anything, starlings and things like that, which some of them try and land on it, but they're gone. But the Tuis will just come and they'll stay there for 30, 40 seconds.
I'll tell you what, Bri.
What?
I've noticed, and you might, what are those minor birds? That's it. I just have
they're
to
not
think
native, I don't think.
They're a pain.
Yeah.
Do you know what? they've started coming into our house, the minor birds. You leave the doors open. I think I've told you this before. And they come in and peck at Maggie's food, don't they?
Yeah. Well, Maggie normally eats out on the deck, doesn't she?
Yeah.
But sometimes she'll eat in if they're doing the garden next door. And then they're getting that coffee, aren't they?
I'm not a fan of those minor birds.
No, they kind of work in teams, those things. They're
they?
very,
Like
they
gangs?
do. Like gangs. Hooligans, organised hooligan birds. Coming into your house and stealing your food. Right, you go in there, I'll decoy over here, right? Get that Terry out on the on the deck.
Anyway, the other day, me and Brian at home doing our work. Brian's in one room, I'm in the other. My mobile phone rings. I pick it up, and
It was my phone actually rang, wasn't it?
Pardon?
It would have been my phone that rang.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, which was in the other room because you were getting pictures of it.
Oh, all right. Okay. The other day, in the other room, doing my work, Brian's phone started to ring.
Yeah.
Okay. I picked it up, and the thing on the other end, whatever it is, something that you never, ever, ever want to hear. And my heart just went, ooh. And he said, oh, hello, is that Mrs. Deacle? And I said, yes. And he said, this is Constable so-and-so from the Okato police. And I was like, oh, my God. And he's like, can I speak to Mr. Deacle, please? And I was like, yep. Both kids were out, so your heart is just,
it's just not what you want to hear.
No, it's not.
It really isn't.
Anyway, I take the phone into Brian, and I'm standing there, in the doorway, just waiting, listening. And what did he say to you?
Well, so I pick the phone. Hi, it's Constable PC from Okato Rural Police Station. So it's a rural police station. It's not New Plymouth City. He said, just to let you know, he said, I actually deal with your area just up before where you live. And I'm like, okay, carry on. And he said, now, we've had a few reports about a Mini. Do you own a Mini? And I'm like, yes, I own a Mini, but I didn't say this, but I'm thinking in my head, it's my daughter, so I'm not going to let anything go here. So I'm just going to keep my powder dry, as they say. And I was like thinking, okay, so nothing sounds like it's bad, but straight away you're thinking, what's happened?
Yeah.
Like,
As soon as I heard you say,
yeah.
Well, yeah.
And he just said, we've had a few reports we've had a report of maybe dangerous overtaking. And I'm like, whoa. I said, okay. I said, he said, I know there aren't any, solid yellow lines or white lines. He said, so I'm trying to think whereabouts it would be. And I just said, listen, I'm going to just kind of stop you there. I said, because it sounds like it's my daughter. I said, she's the person who drives the car all the time. I said, the car is registered in my name. I said, but it's more than likely her. I said, so what is the actual report? He said, well, what it was, he said, 8:30 or 8:45, someone was overtaking them on a road that they thought was an unsafe place to cross or to overtake. So I said, well, do you know what? I said, the best thing you can do for me would be, because daughters don't really listen to the dads when they say, you need to slow down a little bit and just have a bit more respect for people on the roads. I said, she's 18 years old.
She drives too fast.
And they just do. Because that age, you think you're invincible. You think you can think faster than anybody else. Your car will stop on a dime and everything like that.
And because she wasn't going, she's not going over the speed limit, she thinks, well, what's the problem? There's no, it's a broken line or whatever, like Bryce said.
Well, it's quite a long straight road. But, I on this road that we just live up from, there's a lot of houses been built over the last sort of 10 years.
Yeah.
So what was a long, straight rural road with just farms, and it is, you can see for 1.5 km easy, and it's long and straight. She's obviously overtaken going past someone's houses and things.
Yeah.
And there's children around, and admittedly, not many people play on the road, but you never know with a ball rolling out.
It's
and
as simple as that.
Yeah.
Hands up, she's gone too fast, and that's all there is to it.
And it's 100K. It's 100K zone, which these little rural roads, I just, for the life, I know it's a national speed limit, but it should be dropped.
They should have a thing where, if you have got so many houses on a rural road, the speed limit comes down.
Well, it does eventually when there's enough houses.
How many is it going to take?
Well, the trouble is, the council have got to get it passed that it can drop it to 80K. They've got to put signs up. If it drops to 50K, they've got to put lights up and all these sort of things. So this never really happens. That's why it doesn't happen. Anyway, back to the story. I just said to her, so do me a favor. You know, I was driving in the car with her the other day, and she pulls up too close to people behind, and I say, you need to back off. If he brakes, you're going to go at the back of him, like, you know. Oh, no. You know, they're driving too slow. You know, it's 100k, you know, and I'm like, it's not a target test. 100 is max. That's it. But even then, I said, you drive to where you are. But she won't listen. So I said to the policeman, I said, do me a favor. I said, can you please call her and let her know the problem? So I gave her the number. And you feel really bad because it's like, you're not dobbing your daughter in. It's just like, yeah, I mean, she can't get done for this because the police haven't, you know,
no, you did the right thing. You did the right thing.
Yeah, but you feel like you feel a bit guilty, but it's about safety. I'm just trying to look after her more than anything, and other people. Yeah. And so he says, of course I'll do that. Yeah. And I'm like, nice one. I said, while you're on, can you tell her this, and this? and that
boy she fancies is no good.
So as soon as I came off the phone to him, I phoned Tess up straight away and said, listen, Tess, we've had a report. The police have found out that you've been overtaking cars on Plymouth Road, and she just went, well, do you know what? I never overtake in a dangerous place, and I never speed on that road. She said, so if they're doing 80k, I'll overtake them and then pull back in and carry on. And I said, well, you do realise when you get to the main road, the main intersection, which is only 4 or 5k down the road, I said, 9 times out of 10, there's that much road traffic going between Owakura and New Plymouth. I said, that person that you've overtaken catches you up. I said, so what have you gained? You know, 10 seconds, 20 seconds? I said, and it's embarrassing then because you're looking at them and they're looking at you as if like, yeah, right.
Don't you just love it when that happens though?
It's just
when
like,
someone flies past you and you're like, oh, you know, they're just like, oh, you know, bombing past you. Yeah. And then like Bri said, you just get to the intersection or whatever and there they are. And it's just
they're
like,
queuing to turn right and you're going left. So you look at them as if like, what's going on, like, you know? And it's, Anyway, I just thought, I don't know if that would happen in other parts of the world, but I just flipping loved it. I loved the fact that he went, yep, I can do that, all good. And do you know what else I loved as well? Because I spoke to Tess about it afterwards, and she just said he was just the most patient. Yeah. She called him up. Yeah, she called him up, and he had a talk with her, didn't he? Yeah, because he tried to call her, she couldn't because she was working. But by the time I spoke to her, I said, call him back, and she got hold of him and she spoke to him. So just having the time to just go, I'll give her a ring and talk to her and tell her about it and just. Yeah, and I just thought, how flipping amazing is that? And I have to take my hat off to the person who actually called the police and said, I'm worried, because they could obviously see that she's quite young and coming flying by, and you're just thinking, bit of a busybody though, busybody. No, I don't think so. Okay. It's just you get to the point where I just think I just think can't be bothered. I'm not wasting my time. But then it's like about saving other people's lives, isn't it? I know. And I'm just joking. Well. I'm just joking. I know. Yeah. Not really a busybody. You didn't really say that. No. Did you feel a bit guilty though, Bri? Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. First off, it's like, we've got a report about a green Mini, and I'm like, So, but you're like, what is it? Because I'm not, going to put my anyone out there and sort of commit yourself to whatever it's going to be. I'll tell you what. Let me tell you a story, right? If you think that's bad, if this will make you feel better, you know this story, obviously, because I've told you about a billion times, but they don't know it. But if you think that's bad, dobbing your daughter in. When we were kids, it's not funny. This isn't funny. When we were kids, growing up in England, my dad was just so strict, and he was just, talk about Victorian upbringing. It was just, God, I could tell you some tales about how we were brought up. But anyway, he was very strict. And one day, my brother, who must have been about 8 or 9 at primary school, decides to, the office door is open in the primary school, and he decides to go in. The stationery cupboard, go in and help himself to a couple of pencils and a pencil sharpener and a nice new rubber, nice new eraser. And see many rubbers in the stationery cupboard. Well, that's what it is. Well, it used to be called a rubber, didn't it? But what's it called now? Well, the Americans just wrecked it all, didn't they? No, but in New Zealand, I bet they say rubber. Don't they? Let's find out. Do you call it a rubber or an eraser? Oh, shut up. Of course they say rubber. Anyway, so in he goes, helps himself to a few little bits and bobs, puts them in his pocket. Little does he know that the secretary is behind the desk and sees him doing it.
Now, she was a busybody, because why would you grass up a little kid? Why would you do that? Especially when you know what his dad's going to be like.
Starts off at a young age.
I know, but, Anyway, she tells my dad, phones up our house or sends a letter or whatever it was back in the olden days, and tells them that Jamie has done this and,
the kid that's going to be a policeman when he's older.
Oh, thank you, Brian. I was just... Sorry. Oh, no, I'd already told them that. That's all right. I had told them on the bus. Thought you were wrecking my story then. Tells my dad that he's... Anyway, Dad comes home from work. Mum finds out that this has happened. Went absolutely ballistic. We're sitting upstairs on the landing, just like, oh my God, what's Dad going to say about this? He comes up the stairs and he says to my brother, do you want to steal, do you? Is that what you want? Is that what you want to be as a criminal? And Jamie was like, oh, I'm sorry. And he went, no. He said, if you want to be a criminal, let's treat you like a criminal then. This is really harsh. He takes him downstairs, put him in the car, drives him to Newquay. We lived in St Morgan, so he drives him to Newquay, which is about 15k away. 15,
20k.
Goes to the local police station and says, excuse me, Mr. Policeman, we've got a criminal on our hands here. Can he can he spend the night in the cells to show him what it's like, to be a criminal?
Yep.
So, even worse than that, the police said...
Played along with it.
Yeah, they played along with it. And they said, yeah, bring him in. If he wants to be a criminal, then let's show him what it's like. Yeah. So my poor brother goes into this cell, and my dad I think he must have just left him in there for about 20 minutes or whatever. Probably just went
Probably didn't even leave him there. Probably just closed him in the door,
But that's what he did.
Put him in the cells. Tuck him down to the cells.
And not only that, my brother then went on to become a policeman.
Didn't scar him or anything
That's a bit weird, isn't it? So if you feel bad, just remember that story.
Yeah, make sure you do that to your children or grandchildren, even better.
But I'll tell you what, Bri, it didn't do him any harm. Didn't do him any harm.
No. It doesn't, because he never stole a rubber again, did he? So there we go.
Yeah. So I don't know, just different ways, wasn't it, back then? Just.
Yeah, but it's like nowadays you'd be done for child
Oh,
abuse nowadays, wouldn't you? Because they'd be like, oh, you can't do that. It's going to wreck. It's just like, you know what? Sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind, haven't you? Sometimes, you know? Because it's better to be done for, taking a pencil and this and the other than...
Poor thing.
I know, going into a shop and taking something.
Was just sharpen his pencil and write a little
Just a new pencil so he could write a story and draw something, yeah.
We were so poor we couldn't afford pencils.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that was that story. Thought you'd like that. And then one last thing, another run-in with the police, actually.
With Tessa again.
We've been knocking about with the law all week this week.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Regular lawbreakers.
So... My daughter, again, when we went to England, her uncle is a jeweller and he made her a beautiful necklace with a sunflower on it. Solid gold. She never took it off. She's worn it ever since she came home. And the other day she said to me, oh, you're not going to believe it. I think I've lost my gold sunflower necklace. And we're like, oh, no, you know what? Phone up the police and ask them if they've had it handed in. So she phones the police and they say, no, nothing's been handed in. So she did where you drive, retrace your footsteps sort of thing.
Yeah.
She'd been into a shop and tried a top on. And she said, I reckon that when I've tried the top on, I've pulled it over my head and it's come off.
And the other thing was, I might have put it on my skirt and then I've gotten out of the car and it's fallen on the floor. So, it was just like she's trying to figure out what was it that she'd done.
Yeah. She retraced all her steps, went looking for it everywhere, nothing, couldn't find it, phoned the police station, no one's handed it in. So she goes to work the next day and then she remembered that she'd been to this one other shop or something. She'd been to a shop and tried a scarf or something on. She said, I didn't ask in that shop. So she goes to this shop and she says to the woman behind the counter, I've lost this necklace. Has anyone handed it in? And she said, oh, no, sorry, darling, we haven't had anyone hand that in. She said, what sort of necklace was it? And she said, oh, it was a gold necklace with a sunflower on it. And she went, oh, that rings a bell. I think I've seen that. I think it's on the Taranaki community Facebook page. Someone's handed it in. So Tess is not on this community page. So they stand there, her and that woman together, and she brings up the page and she said, is that it? And Tess is like, yeah, there's my necklace. So there's a phone number with a picture of the necklace and a phone number. So Tess phones the number and there's this guy on the other side and he starts going, can you describe it to me in detail? So Tess describes it all. you know, and
whereabouts did you lose
it? And she tells him, and he said, okay. He said, what it is I'm a police officer.
Community police officer.
Where do you work? And she told him, and he said, right, what I'll do is I'll bring it to you tomorrow then. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Well, no, someone's handed it in as well. Like, you know, it's just like, wow.
Someone's handed it in. They put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And not only that, he delivers it to her work. I wonder imagine when he got there is the same guy. Excuse me, you haven't got a Mini, have you? Yeah. Imagine that.
That's what I was thinking at first, but he's over that side and New Plymouth's over that side.
Oh, I just think that's gorgeous. It's a big shout out, massive shout out to New Zealand Community Police. Yep. Ukato Community Police.
Rural Police.
We love you. Yeah. We don't care that people are telling our daughter off for speeding.
No, good on them.
We're grateful that you're just in our community, you know, and just keeping us flipping safe.
I mean, my dad was a policeman. Liz's brother's a policeman, or was a policeman. So I know what these people go through, and a lot of people got bad things to say about the police. I don't know why, but it's just like, you know, they're just there to do a job, to help out and uphold the law, which that's what we wants to be, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day.
So that was that. It was just, you know. Yeah.
So just quite a heartwarming story, I think, all around, you know. Yeah. It really is. It's great.
And it just makes we've got this, like I said, we've got this community where we help people who move to New Zealand, and it's got all different channels on it. So it's got like income, you know, jobs, what it costs, immigration, blah, all these different channels. And we've started recently a new channel, and it's called Kiwi Kindness. And it's just people on there people who have already moved to New Zealand share the things that just are kind about New Zealand.
Yep.
Because
well, they do.
Yeah, yep. Because we were talking about it the other day, and we just said, it's a massive effort to move to New Zealand. It's a huge effort. Honestly, what these people go through, we're watching their stories as they're joining the membership, you know, joining the community and sharing their journey along the way. And the things that they're going through,
it's not easy.
The hoops that they're jumping through to get to this country, to bring their skills to this country, is admirable. And we just said, it's nice that you can see what's waiting for you on the other side.
I know.
You know?
And it's great because, you know, I mean, New Zealand loses so many of its skills to the likes of Australia to go for more money. It leaves a huge gap that needs to be filled with doctors, nurses, architects, IT specialists, all these type of people that are coming over, even down to arborists and plumbers and things like that.
Actually, we haven't got any plumbers, have we?
No, but it's been hard for the tradies because they haven't been critical care workers over the years. But now immigration has started to change again, and you know, it's just, I don't know. We just need to keep bolstering up the amount of people that are leaving, and it's just like, it's great to see these people coming over and bring in. You know, you've got to be so educated nowadays to get here. It's not like you can just turn up anymore, like, you know.
I want to tell you something else about Kiwi Kindness in a minute, but first of all, I just want to do our little promo thing that I'm going to tell you, that if you are moving to New Zealand, if you're watching this and you can't get enough of New Zealand and you want to know more about it, then please go over and sign up to our free 5-day video guide. We made this video guide. It's got little snippets every day. They're only about 5 minutes long, about some aspect of life in New Zealand. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It is.
And it's absolutely free. So if you sign up for that and take that guide, and then on day 5, you will be given details of our membership. If you want to join, you can join. And if you don't want to join, that's absolutely fine. We've got lots of free stuff on the internet that you can look at. And don't forget to go to NZ Ahead, which is our other...
nzahead.com/free. Click the link in the description above and it'll take you straight to it.
So that's www.nzahead.com/free. Right, it's towards the end of the show now, so I know, first of all, that the people remaining are our loyal true fans, and so I just want to say, now everyone else is probably
gone,
tottering off, I just want to say this to you. Thank you so much for the response that we got when we put our audio-only podcast out last week. We put a podcast out where I read a section of my book, and I was so nervous about doing that. I was scared senseless, absolutely scared senseless. It's a big world, YouTube. You know, it's not a little small pond, is it,
No,
Brian?
it's not. No.
And so I was so scared. And I just want to say, because as much as I said it in the comments, thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because I'll be completely honest with you. When I put that podcast out, I was too scared to look at the comments because I thought, oh no, what if someone has said something, you know, that they didn't like it or whatever. And then I said to Brian, I'm just going to go and look at the comments and see if anyone's, you know, needs answering or, you know, what anyone said. And I went in, fired up my computer, clicked on the comments, and there was just a rush of support and wonderful, bloody lovely kindness coming through the screen at me. And I just wanted to say thank you. I just want you to know that it meant the world to me. Absolutely meant the world to me. So thank you.
Yeah, I'll reiterate that because it just did. It's not easy to do what Liz was doing. People were saying, "Oh, please, can you video it?" It's just like, well, no, it's that sort of thing.
You wouldn't have wanted to see me
It's
video
just
it.
like,
Honestly,
you know,
wouldn't.
It's very hard, I suppose, to have written something and then write it out. You know, you know, I've written something, not write it out.
Yeah. And the other thing, and I'm not going to name any names here because we've been asked not to, but we've had a couple of people reaching out to us with some really, really kind gifts.
Yes.
People who are just, you know, sent us lovely things saying, you bring light to our day.
Yes.
What can I say?
No,
It's
it was amazing last week. You know, someone sent us a gift, and this not that we're asking for gifts,
No,
but it's
this
just
isn't a way of doing that.
so unexpected to just get a message through saying, "Oh, there's this here for you," or that, and you know, amazing.
It was just beautiful, and I know that I could say this a lot. I can't say it enough, and neither can Brian. Is just that kindness that you
that
give
Kiwi
to us.
kindness.
Yeah. It's just flipping. It's outstanding, and it's just it means so much to us.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, right, look, I managed to get through without crying.
I know, but you're nearly crying, though.
No, I'm not.
Yes.
I'm doing all right. I
Yes.
feel strong.
Yeah.
I've got strong blood
Kaha,
this
Liz,
week.
come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so until next time, have you got anything else you want to say?
No, not until next time. You know.
Will we see people before Christmas?
Oh, we might well do one before Christmas. If not, it will be released between Christmas, New Year, because it's this one, and then it's going to be probably released between Christmas and New Year. So maybe if we get a chance to do it, because you know, with family and Christmas in Kalani and all the folks at home. So there we go.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed this show. You know, this week's show. And if we don't see you before Christmas, have a fabulous, fabulous time. Relax, stay happy, keep calm, like I said. Kia kaha.
Kia kaha. Merry Christmas to everybody out there. If we don't see you before, hopefully we might well do. If not, it'll be an audio podcast in there somewhere along the way.
We'll send something to you. We'll send something your way, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So kia kaha, stay strong. Kia u, stay true. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
You may have lived in New Zealand all your life. You might have been born here, or you might have come here like we did from a different country. But unless you do certain things, you will never be classed as a true Kiwi.
And it was just like, what's wrong with it? It's just a bloody hat.
Oh, she was a snob though, Brian.
Yeah.
A real snob.
Yes.
Fancy saying that about you and your leather hair.
I know.
Did you have your shorts on?
In this week's show, we're going to share with you 7 things that make a Kiwi true Kiwi. If you do these things, then you are definitely a Kiwi. So let's jump on in and find out what they are.